The most popular story of the children's Bible is when little David defeats the huge Goliath, allowing the Israelites to overcome the Philistines and arrive at the court of King Saul. This is an exciting story for children, but what is the deeper meaning to this story? In this episode, we will dive into the characters, backgrounds, and typologies of David and Goliath. Matthew 1:1. The book of genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. The fact that David's name means beloved works in direct accordance with the way that Jesus is referred to as the son of David. David was a key figure in the Old Testament as his life pointed to the coming of Jesus Christ. David was a shepherd boy, and Jesus is called the shepherd over his people. Everyone who believes in him is a member of his flock. 1 Samuel 17:4-5. And a champion went out from the camp of the Philistines named Goliath from Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of bronze. Goliath was known to be approximately 6 EI tall. He had a bronze helmet, bronze shin plate, and a bronze throwing spear. These materials of bronze and iron are important, as they are directly from Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Also, typology is possibly found here in the numbers 6 and 600. In the Bible, the number 6 is known as the number of man and appearance. Similarly, soon Earth will have to deal with a mark characterized by the number 6. God demonstrates his plan from the beginning of the Bible, and through the repeated numbers, we see certain patterns recurring. Goliath was a man who was the epitome of power in this world. His own people idolized him, while he successfully terrified the Israelites. Everyone, except for David, allowed themselves to be intimidated by this great giant. The difference between David and everyone else was that David relied on God and not his external situation. Before David's time, we see in the Bible that Samuel, a prophet of the Lord, allowed himself to be tempted by externals. However, God said to Samuel in 1 Samuel 16:7, "Do not look at his appearance or his physical stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord does not see as man sees, for man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." Do you ever look at things going on in your life and realize that they turned out to be better than you expected? God's ways are unfathomable by human eyes. God looks at our hearts and oversees all things, but we humans are unable to comprehend the goodness of the Lord's plan. 1 Samuel 17:40. Then he took his staff in his hand, and he chose for himself 5 smooth stones from the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag, in a pouch which he had, and his sling was in his hand. And he drew near to the Philistine. Without any protective armor, David headed to the battlefield to defeat Goliath once and for all. In this story, there is an explicit mention of the number 5, as that was how many stones David took to battle. Do you know what the number 5 means in the Bible? The number 5 is directly linked to God's grace, mercy, and favor. God's grace is described as undeserved favor that comes from God's love. 5 stones were all that David needed in battle against Goliath, because he carried the grace of God with him. Next in the story, David approached Goliath with the confidence of the Lord. David grabbed into his shepherd's bag, pulled out a stone, and used a sling to hurl the stone into the giant's forehead. With this one action, David was able to overcome Goliath. It wasn't by sword or stone that achieved the victory, but instead by the name of the Lord. If we look deeper into the story, we see that Goliath mocked David because he came to battle with only a stone. But do you know what the New Testament compares a stone to? The stone is Christ. Christ is our cornerstone on which the entire church has been built upon. In addition, Christ is the rock from Daniel 2 that came down from heaven to destroy the image in one strong swoop. Similarly, the statue of Nebuchadnezzar, which was the same height of Goliath, was destroyed by a rock. David cut off the head of the giant and took it to Jerusalem. He then buried the head in a place called Golgotha, where Christ would eventually be crucified and would rise to victory. Since the resurrection, Jesus has become the cornerstone, shepherd, and living Son of David. He is our Lord Jesus Christ forevermore. See you next time.